Hey, I'm Baz, filmmaker, dad, and the guy behind 20-Minute Gamer. If you're anything like me, you don't have hours to sink into every game. That's why I test whether a game can hook you in just the first 20 minutes, because let's face it, if it doesn't grab me by then, I'm probably not coming back. I want to find out if a game's opening offers fun now, not 40 hours down the line. Today, I'm jumping into NieR Automata, which I'm playing on Steam in 2025. It's also available on Xbox and PlayStation, and originally launched back in 2017. Now this might not sound particularly recent, but considering I've barely touched anything modern since my kids were born, it feels brand new to me. I spotted it in a Steam sale and thought, why not? I knew nothing about the game going in other than people say it's really good. I've somehow managed to avoid spoilers and trailers all this time, and I haven't seen any gameplay videos, so this is a completely blind first impression. Let's see if it keeps me entertained for a tight 20-minute session, or if it's one of those slow burners for people with 60 hours and no children. NieR Automata is a post-apocalyptic action RPG developed by Platinum Games and published by Square Enix. It's known for mixing philosophical themes with genre-blending gameplay and an unorthodox storytelling structure. The game's world is set thousands of years after humanity has fled the Earth, leaving androids like 2B, who's your character, to fight invading alien machines in a never-ending proxy war. The game plays like a love letter to classic arcade shooters and hack-and-slash titles, constantly shifting perspectives between top-down bullet hell, side-scrolling shooter, and third-person action. It's become a cult classic for its narrative depth and inventive mechanics, but how does it feel in 2025, especially if you're new to it?
Now it's just crawling with machines.
Story. If you know the channel, you'll know I usually skip cutscenes to maximize gameplay in my 20-minute window, but NieR sneaks in some exposition via unskippable scenes and radio chatter that fill in just enough detail to keep things intriguing. You play as 2B, an android part of a combat unit sent in to eliminate machine threats. Within the first 5 minutes, every member of your squad is wiped out, leaving you to go it alone. It's pretty brutal.
7E down.
The game drip feeds context through radio conversations, environmental cues, and just enough dialogue to suggest that there's more going on beneath the surface. There's clearly a much bigger story lurking here. Why are you fighting these machines? What happened to Earth? Who are the mysterious characters talking to you over comms? The storytelling is minimal, but it works. I didn't feel like I needed to know everything straight away, but I just wanted to keep going. Score, 7 out of 10. Controls. This is where NieR Automata absolutely nails it. From the very first moment, you're in a flying mech dodging bullets and blasting enemies. It feels like a proper arcade classic. Then suddenly the camera flips, and now you're in a side-scrolling shooter. It flips again, and now it's a third-person hack and slash. And somehow, none of it feels disjointed. It's slick, responsive, and intuitive. The transition from flying mech to foot combat is seamless. Once you're on the ground, you control 2B in a tight third-person view. You've got light and heavy attacks, and a handy floating drone that peppers enemies with bullets while you swing your sword. It creates this constant barrage of chaos, but in the best possible way. What really impressed me was how consistent the controls felt, despite the shift in camera angles. Even when it switched to a top-down view, I never felt out of control. It reminded me of the best twin-stick shooters, frantic, satisfying, and rewarding from the very first fight. Honestly, I felt like an unstoppable badass, and that's not something many games manage to deliver in under 20 minutes. Score, 10 out of 10. Atmosphere.
The enemy seems to have repurposed the facility to increase their overall machine production.
So if we don't destroy it, they'll just keep coming.
The world building in NieR is subtle but effective. You're clearly in a broken future. Ruined structures, decaying machinery, and vast empty spaces all tell the story of a world long past its prime. The game doesn't shout it at you, it just lets the environment speak. The design of the machines, your android companions, and even the bleak lighting all contribute to this moody, industrial vibe. The most impressive thing for me was how immersive it all felt, partly because the controls are so buttery smooth, and partly because the audio-visual design keeps you in the moment. I actually genuinely forgot to check the timer, which never happens. That's how deep in I was. Score, 8 out of 10. Music and sound. Let's start with the soundtrack. It's fantastic. There's a unique blend of orchestral melodies, vocal layers, and retro synths that somehow perfectly match the on-screen chaos. At one point, I found myself nodding along to the background track while mid-boss battle, which does say a lot. The sound effects are punchy and well-tuned. Sword swings land with weight, explosions rattle through your speakers, and the item pickup sound give me a serious Metal Gear Solid flashback, which I did love. The voice acting, well, it was surprisingly solid. It has that slightly exaggerated anime dub feel, but it suits the tone. 2B and her companions sound committed, and the emotion, even when understated, lands well.
What?
It's just accessing random, nonsensical data from the old world. There's no actual meaning behind anything machines do.
There were a couple of dramatic lines that had me raising an eyebrow, but they never tipped into cringe territory. Overall, the sound design complements the visuals and gameplay without overwhelming them. It's a great balance.
Well done.
Score, 7 out of 10. Graphics and style. For a game that came out in 2017, NieR Automata still looks incredible in 2025. The character designs are striking. 2B has this gothic meets sci-fi aesthetic that's both stylish and distinct. Her hovering weapons, fluid animations, and those sweeping combat moves all feel brilliantly choreographed. Their environments are gritty and lived in. Broken factories, rusting machines, foggy corridors. There's a cohesion to everything.
Not quite.
The mechs are clunky in the best way, the enemies feel handmade, and the lighting subtly changes with each new area. One thing that stood out was how particle effects exploded during combat. Sparks, dust, energy waves. It's a feast for the eyes, especially during the bigger battles. The only mild gripe I had was scale. 2B feels a bit small in comparison to her surroundings, giving it a bit of a diorama effect. It's not a deal breaker, but it occasionally made the world feel more like a set than a place. Score, 9 out of 10. Gameplay. If you want a crash course in how to open a game with energy, NieR Automata is it. You go from squad-based air combat to solo infiltration to boss fights to frantic swordplay, all within the first 20 minutes. What's wild is that it never feels rushed. You're introduced to each new mechanic with enough space to breathe and learn it. Then you're thrown into chaos and expected to master it. And because the controls are so intuitive, you actually can. I fought flying machines, slashed through enemy waves, and blasted my way through a mechanical hellscape. I also found a few alternate routes which rewarded exploration, which was a nice touch considering how linear the start is. By the end of my session, I was just starting to face waves of enemies, and you know what? I didn't want to stop. I never say that. But the combat was so satisfying I could have kept going for hours. Score, 9 out of 10. Final verdict. Is this worth 20 minutes? Yes, absolutely, 100%. If you've got 20 minutes and want to feel like a slick anime super soldier blasting your way through waves of baddies in a weirdly emotional wasteland, this is it. NieR Automata is exactly what I wanted this channel to showcase. A game that hits hard, fast, and leaves you wanting more. Even without diving into the story or deeper mechanics, I was hooked. I'll definitely keep on playing this one, and I can totally see why it's earned its cult status. This is what happens when you combine smart design with creative confidence.
You're 2B, right? My name's 9S. I'm here to provide support.
Copy that.
Final score, 9 out of 10. So, what did you think about NieR Automata? Did the full game live up to the hype for you? If you like this review, a like and subscribe really helps the channel out. I post bite-sized reviews of retro favourites and modern gems, all designed for people who don't have hours and hours to waste. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.